Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari
Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari
Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari
Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari
Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Yashodanandana Prajjana Ranjana Yashodanandana Prajjana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jayam Shripad Paramahamsa Parivraj Pachaya Ashtatra Shatashi Srimadbhagavatam Sesi Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Grantaraj srimadbhagavatam Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Canto 4, entitled Creation of the Fourth Order, Chapter 14, the story of King Vena. Text 38. Evam Rishanta Rishayo Davantam Sarvato Disham Pamsu Samutito Burish Chodanam Abilum Patam Evam Rishanta Rishayo Avatam Sarvato Drisham Pamsu Samutito Burish Choranam Abilum Patam Evam Rishanta Rishayo Avatam Sarvato Drisham Pamsu Samutito Burish Choranam Abilum Patam. Chant.
Bhagavatam Sarvato
Evam.
evam
Thus, Shantaha, while considering, Rishayaha, the great saintly persons, Davatam, running, Sarvata Disham, from all directions, Pamsuhu, dust, Samutataha, arose, Buddhi, much, Choranam, from thieves and rogues, Abilumpatam, engaged in plundering. Translation. When the great sages were carrying on their discussion in this way, they saw a dust storm arising from all directions. This storm was caused by the running of thieves and rogues who were engaged in plundering the citizens. Purport. Thieves and rogues simply await some political upset in order to take the opportunity to plunder the people in general. To keep thieves and rogues inactive in their profession, a strong government is always required. Tadupatravam agyaya lokasya basulumpatam bharat yupurate tasmin anyoyam chajikam satam chora prayam janapadam hinasatvam arajakam lokanavara yanchakta apita doshadarshanaha. Upon seeing the dust storm, the saintly persons could understand that there were a great deal of irregularities due to the death of King Vena. Without government, the state was devoid of law and order, and consequently there was a great uprising of murderous thieves and rogues, who were plundering the riches of the people in general. Although the great sages could subdue the disturbance by the powers, just as they could kill the king, they considered it improper on their part to do so. Thus they did not attempt to stop the disturbance. Purport. Saintly persons and great sages like King Vena out of emergency, the saintly persons and great sages killed King Vena out of emergency. But they did not choose to take part in the government in order to subdue the uprising of thieves and rogues which took place after the death of King Vena. It is not the duty of Brahmins and saintly persons to kill, although they may sometimes do so in the case of an emergency. They could kill all the thieves and rogues by the prowess of their mantras, but they thought it the duty of Kshatriya kings to do so. Thus they reluctantly did not take part in the killing business. The great sages began to think that although a Brahmin is peaceful and impartial because he is equal to everyone, it is still not his duty to neglect poor humans. By such neglect, a Brahmin's spiritual power diminishes, just as water kept in a cracked pot leaks out. Purport. Brahmins, the topmost section of human society, are mostly devotees. They are generally unaware of the happenings within the material world because they are always busy in their activities for spiritual advancement. Nonetheless, when there is a calamity in human society, they cannot remain impartial. If they do not do something to relieve the distressed condition of human society, it is said that due to such neglect, their spiritual knowledge diminishes. Almost all the sages go to the Himalayas for their personal benefit. But Prahlad Maharaj said that he did not want liberation alone. He decided to wait until he was able to deliver all the fallen souls of the world. In their elevated condition, the Brahmins are called Vaishnavas. There are two types of Brahmins, namely Brahman Pandit and Brahman Vaishnav. A qualified Brahmin is naturally very learned, but when his learning is advanced in understanding the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he becomes a Brahman Vaishnav. Unless one becomes a Vaishnav, one's perfection of Brahminical culture is incomplete. The saintly persons considered very wisely that although King Vena was very sinful, he was born in a family descending from Dhruva Maharaj. Therefore, the semen in the family must be protected by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Keshava. As such, the sages wanted to take some steps to relieve the situation. For one of a king, everything was disturbed and turned topsy-turvy. Om Ganitabanandasya Gananjana Shlakaya Chakshulan Maditam Nena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Makam Garitavachalam Pangam Langayate Girim Yakripatamaham Vande Shri Gurun Diritanam Vanshal Kapilabishta Kripasindavevicha Patitanam Pavane Bhyo Vaishnave Bhyo Ramanamha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Shri Radha Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So, on a side note, aside from the Bhagavatam, if devotees go up to LA on Saturday, what time will they go? Does anyone have any ideas? Zach, Damodar Kumar, any ideas to that festival? 4:30 in the morning? Yeah? Okay. You like that idea? Oh. You mean easier? In what way? Alright, that's easier, huh? Okay. Alright, so other devotees like 4:30 a.m. you're thinking? Alright, that makes sense. Yeah, because the big festival up there. I mean, I don't know. That I think that's a general idea. Zach might get into. Yeah. You're going to the farm today, Jamal? He's doing what? Oh, okay. Well, we won't let that get out onto the speaker. No. All right. Hare Krishna. So King Vena has now died, and his mother is keeping him embalmed, like his body preserved, like was mentioned yesterday. They're doing with Lenin, right, in Moscow, I guess, keeping the body preserved so people could come take darshan. Srila Prabhupada went to Moscow for 5 days, and he went with Shamasundar. And Shamasundar writes in his book, one of his books, that Prabhupada was always thinking about going to Russia. He wanted to go to a place that was, Prabhupada wanted to go to far out places, places that really needed Krishna consciousness. So he went to Russia. Prabhupada went to Africa, Kenya, but in Russia, Prabhupada had an invitation there from a professor, Katowski or whatever. So yeah, at the time it was really heavy government, and they didn't want any religious books or anything like that, anybody getting in. So demoniac government. Just like, a little different than what's going on here in the Bhagavatam, but so Prabhupada, they got in on an invitation from a professor, and a few days passed. We won't get into everything what happened in those days, because Shamasundar, he actually writes in a diary what happened each day, so we won't get into all that. But they would take their morning walks, and they would go past this place where apparently this fellow Lenin was preserved, his dead body. And Prabhupada see a big line of people going in to see this dead body. And Prabhupada said, "Oh, just see, we go and we see Krishna every day. We take darshan of Krishna." And he said, "They're going to see a dead body. It's terrible." Anyways, Prabhupada, he eventually met one young boy. He told him all about Krishna consciousness in a day or two. He initiated him, Ananta Shanti. And there's another Indian boy that Prabhupada met, but he wasn't so interested. And anyways, from there, there's a whole story. There's a whole pastime and historical account. Her Ananta Shanti spread Krishna consciousness all over Russia, even in those days, secretly. And just by Prabhupada going there for 5 days, so it changed the world. So King Vena, his body's in bomb, just like Lenin. And we'll see later what exactly happens. You know, there's a churning, and then Prithu Maharaj comes out somehow or other. But in the meantime, what's happening is all these rogues and thieves and, you know, dacoits and rascals and all these horrible personalities, they're completely disturbing the society, the condition of the society, because they're thinking, oh, great, no government, let's go out, we're going to, you know, steal and hurt people and this and that, we're not going to get in trouble for it. You know, they're thinking this is great. So that's exactly what they did. So the sages were thinking, okay, we need to do something about this. At first they're thinking, oh, we're not going to get involved, but then later they thought to themselves, as it said in the verse here, that the Brahmins are peaceful and impartial, they're equal to everyone, but still it is not their duty to neglect poor humans. By such neglect, a Brahmin's spiritual power diminishes, just as water kept in a cracked pot leaks out. So, whatever we have developed in the course of our practice of Krishna consciousness, our knowledge, our whatever we have got, the blessings and so on, we want to be careful that we contain those. In other words, that we don't lose them. Because what we have attained can be temporarily, not exactly lost, but at least suspended, or at least seemed to be lost. Just like here it says, water kept in a cracked pot leaks out. So this isn't a pot, but you can imagine a pot, right? So there's a big pot, and you imagine it 10 times bigger than this. So it's holding the water apparently very nicely. But if there's a crack in it, slowly but surely, all the water goes out. And then there's no water in it. Empty. So if we, referring to us here, if we neglect people, poor humans, and that means like almost everybody. Poor doesn't mean no money, it means lack of knowledge and lack of direction, those type of people, misdirected people. Then we lose our spiritual power. Our spiritual knowledge diminishes. In other words, we become a fool. Or at best a washed up Brahmin, or a watered down Brahmin, or a kind of, let me say, half-hearted, or a Brahmabandhu, a friend of a Brahmin. We're not really Brahmins, but we're kind of there, but we're not really. We've distanced ourselves from the actual reality of Brahmin life, of devotee life. So we don't want to be Brahmins in name only. We don't want to be Vaishnavas in name only. We don't want to be grand disciples of Srila Prabhupada in name only. But we want to be real disciples, real followers. And that necessitates that we do something to help human society, as being mentioned here, what the Brahmins do. And it's saying that Prahlad Maharaj, he's the perfect example, that he didn't want to just run off to the mountains. He wanted to stay in the cities, whatever that meant at that particular time. Not exactly sure what cities looked like in Prahlad Maharaj's time, but nonetheless he wanted to stay in the cities. Why? To preach Krishna consciousness. And factually, I mean, there's no other reason why this temple's here. I mean, this modern so-called culture is just absolutely degrading on so many levels. And And yeah, it's saying here also, rewinding a little bit, that the Brahmins are usually not really, they're usually not aware actually of the happenings of this world. Means usually they don't get so much into the news of this world. Why? Because they're too busy. And they don't have time to think about all that stuff. Although sometimes devotees get into the news, they watch the news, they listen to the news, they read articles about the news, hopefully with the idea of spreading Krishna consciousness and talking about these things, but sometimes not. But if one was to look at the news, it's so disturbing actually. Someone told me some news last night, and I'm not going to repeat it. It's so disturbing. Just some sick, twisted individuals of this world doing sick, horrible things. Killing and so on. But I won't get into all the details. So it's very disturbing. So yeah, usually Brahmins, usually Vaishnavas are not really absorbed in those things. It says that they are absorbed in what? It says, where did it say? Anyways, I'm not seeing it, but so yeah, usually they're not absorbed in such things. But nonetheless, although they're not absorbed in such things, sometimes they hear of such things. And that may be good sometimes, actually, because they realize what a terrible place this material world is. When I heard about that last night, I was thinking, oh man, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur's statement rings absolutely true or clear upon hearing such news. Why? Because what did he say? He said, this material world, is no place for a lady or a gentleman. It is no place for a lady or gentleman. In other words, this place is like not really suited for devotees, really, this material world. So it may be good we hear such things to fire us up. Not everything's so good. And I think I was thinking about this recently, that a lot of people actually, we say the cheaters and the cheated, the society of cheaters and cheated. And I was thinking that recently, that I suspect that most people who think that they're cool, they're actually, or cool or happy or anything like that, they're actually bluffing. Means they're putting on a show. They know they're not that happy, and they know they're not that cool. And when it comes down to it, they're not that confident, or they're not that well situated in what they're doing anyways. What I mean by that is that deep down inside, they actually know that they're being foolish. They're bluffing. They're bluffing people. So in other words, we shouldn't be intimidated, and we shouldn't think that these people know what they're doing, because they actually don't. Means they don't know what the goal of life is. They don't know the path of happiness. They don't know what it means to be cool. They're actually not cool. In other words, they're confused. And yeah, I really do think that a lot of them are just putting on a big show, a big bluff, And behind all that, there's a lot of fear, there's a lot of confusion, there's a lot of depression. And therefore, it is the business of the Vaishnavas to show them what is the right path, to show them how to live a fearless life, to show them what life's all about. Just like people, they sometimes criticize. Everybody's criticizing everybody nowadays. All right, Krishna. Good morning to both of you. The other 50% of the population. Sometimes they criticize. People criticize everybody. The Republicans are criticizing the Democrats. The Democrats are criticizing the Republicans. The black people are criticizing the white, whatever, and on and on and on and on and on and on. There's just everybody's criticizing everybody because everybody hates everybody. I mean, not everybody, but there's so much hate in the world due to the bodily concept of life. People thinking they're the body, and therefore seeing too many differences. So Prabhupada would say that the grihastas, they shouldn't criticize the brahmacharis, and the brahmacharis feel very happy about that. Yeah, they shouldn't criticize us. That's wonderful. And he said that the brahmacharis shouldn't criticize the householders. And then the householders feel very happy about that. Yeah, the brahmacharis aren't criticizing us. And that's good, that they don't criticize each other. But why did Srila Prabhupada say that? You know the other half of the quote? What is that? Because they'll fall down. Yeah, he said that. He said the brahmacharis shouldn't criticize the householders, and the householders shouldn't criticize the brahmacharis because it's Kali. Huh? Because the sannyasis used to do it. Yeah, perfect answer. Thank you. Because it's Kali Yuga, and no one could follow perfectly. That's what he said. No one could follow perfectly the duties of their ashram and responsibilities. So in other words, no one's perfect. But sometimes we see that still, although Srila Prabhupada said that, still people are very eager to criticize people. And this is born of confusion, and this is born of hatred, and this is born of envy and delusion. And it is just wrong, because after all, who is perfect? Like someone would say, okay, I see that, at the temple, you guys aren't so absorbed in recycling, taking care of the earth, recycling your plastics so they don't merge into the earth and sit there for 50, 100 years and so on. Okay, I respect that. Personally, I respect that. I think it's cool. I think it's a nice point. And to take care of Mother Earth, and I don't have a problem with that. I actually like the idea of taking care of the earth and so on. And actually, GBC meeting, GBC law, they trying to implement this, that throughout the world they want devotees to the utensils and all the plastic spoons, throw away, one use, throw away. They wanted to try to implement that you don't do that. Just have some silverware like a regular old restaurant, and then use it like that. Because nowadays people become more conscious of that. They don't like it, so on. Like one girl said that at the lounge. She said the lounge is just great. It's wonderful. I really love it. It was her first time here. I liked everything about it, but you guys got to get some silverware. That's what she said it nicely. I thought she's a cool person. So this other person, they're saying, you guys don't recycle, right? So okay, I could appreciate that. And then he said something about devotees and their prasadam intake. Sometimes prasadam intake is a little bit too much, at least according to this person. Which, maybe from some point of view, that may be true. so he was mentioning this, and it wasn't super critical, but there was an underlying kind of critical mood, which I didn't appreciate. Of course, I didn't metaphysically cut him to pieces right there or something, or give him a hard time about it, but I didn't appreciate it. Therefore, I'm mentioning it right now, trying to make a point. So those are things that you could say maybe are easier for people to see. Oh, recycling, devotees, they're eating whatever. They ate 5 cookies for breakfast instead of 1 or something. I don't know, whatever. Some apparent faults, right? But I didn't tell the guy, hey, why don't you chant any rounds? Why don't you come to any of the classes? And why are you so attached to your girlfriend? Which he was. I didn't tell him that, But I could have told him that, and he wouldn't have liked that. I'm sure he wouldn't have liked that. But so why is he, critically, telling people things, like, oh, the recycling or and you could say, okay, maybe he was trying to help this and that, but my point is that, a lot of the times people fail to see their own faults. That's my point. The guy may be very quick to, cast some judgments or some corrections on this place, but okay, first of all, you're a guest. Second of all, again, why aren't you chanting Hare Krishna rounds? Why aren't you attending classes? Why are you so attached to your girlfriend? So in other words, he's failing to see his own faults, which, by the way, I think that for him to be not chanting Hare Krishna and not attending classes and being so attached to his girlfriend, I think that is the worser of two evils than devotees taking a little extra prasad and, not recycling their spoon. Because there may be a chance of such personalities who don't recycle their spoons and take a little extra prasad of them, and they also chant Hare Krishna, attend classes, and do so many other wonderful things, that it might be a good chance that those personalities may make it back to Godhead, maybe make it back to the spiritual world. Whereas this person, if he remains not chanting Hare Krishna and attached to his girlfriend, overly attached to his girlfriend, and he could be recycling for millions of years in the cycle of birth and death. He could be recycling millions of years, his spoons, and he could be, eating 2 chickpeas a day, and, he could be revolving in the cycle of birth and death. So what's better? So, again, I'm not saying we shouldn't recycle. It's cool. We should recycle. We should, not overeat. Sure, it's cool. But again, the guy should see his own faults as well. That's my point. And not be so quick to deprecate people for not doing certain things. So yeah, and the world's full of confusion. Personalities with confusions like this. Just like, all around SanDiego, all around the world. People, they want to live healthy lives and eat very healthy food and, perform plenty of exercise, which is cool. No problem. That's good. You should do that for preaching. So you have nice health for preaching. Spreading Krishna consciousness. But, eating well, living well, exercising, making sure to have plenty of crystals at one's home, expensive crystals, beautiful crystals of the world, and, enjoying life. So many people like to do that without Krishna. So, you could say that this is like it could be seen as like a stepping stone, right? You know, people go to such whatever spiritual places or whatever. You could say it could be seen as a stepping stone, right? Oh, they're living sattvic lives. Maybe it's like a stepping stone towards Krishna consciousness. And Srila Prabhupada did say that those who are in the mode of goodness, they have a better chance. Those who live clean lives, sattvic lives, good lives, they have a better chance of actually digesting the message of Krishna consciousness. But a chance doesn't mean 100%. It means a chance. There's also a chance that they just get stuck there. And that engaging in those activities throughout their life, I mean, what does it really bring? It could actually bring them farther away from Krishna, because they're just living this type of lifestyle, but being, you know, closed-minded and ultimately not really open-minded to Krishna consciousness at all. So in other words, what I'm saying is that those people are confused as well. So the political leaders are confused. The professors, the teachers of this world are confused. A lot of the spiritual people of this world are confused. I mean, like, just the basic principle of vegetarianism. I mean, so many people, they don't even understand that. Religious people, they don't understand that. I mean, it's like it's like a preliminary step in the right direction towards learning how to love God, and 99.99% of them don't understand that. I mean, that's spiritual people. And then, yeah, so in other words, whatever crowd we look at, they're all confused. Of course, besides us. But we shouldn't, be all puffed up. Oh yeah, everybody's confused, and yeah, we're not confused. I'm part of the not confused group here. We shouldn't be puffed up like that, but we should see by the grace of Srila Prabhupada, by the grace of my spiritual master, by the grace of the Vaishnavas, we have some idea of how to live our lives in the most successful way. So you could say we're less confused. But even then, although we may be less confused, we still need direction. That's the point. So these people need the supreme direction because they're absolutely confused, and we, to some degrees, are, we also need direction. Even if we're, even if we become a guru, big guru or whatever, disciples, this and that, we should still be humble and think, I still need direction. So whoever we are, we think we should feel like we need direction. So the point is that the Brahmins, the Vaishnavas here, they saw the disturbance of society and they wanted to do something. So we should think in our minds that, okay, so many people are confused. Okay, what am I going to do about it practically? What can I do about it? And we should try to do something about it within our power. I mean, we all have a particular power. We all have a particular abilities, intelligence, and so on. So we should analyze what can I do practically for these people. So therefore, we carry books with us. We carry invitations with us. We try to start outreach programs like Krishna Lounge and so on. We put up posters all over the city. We try to be good devotees. We try to cook nice prasad for the general population. And on and on. We try to surrender our lives to Krishna. Why? With the hope that at least some of the confused, bewildered, suffering, living entities of this world can somehow or other be guided and somehow or other be saved from their particular confusion they're in. And we should always remember that there's a person behind every particular project, behind every particular yatra, every particular temple, or there's persons. So things just don't go on automatically. So in other words, we should think, hey, it's up to us. We should do something. Not that, oh, well, it's just gonna happen. No, nothing just happens. It happens because there's a person. So, for example, there's the Krishna Lounge. We have it every Thursday. Hopefully some people are benefiting. But there's persons that go there. Someone has to give the talk. Somebody has to lead the kirtan. Somebody has to cook the prasad. Somebody has to deal with the guests. Somebody has to serve out the tea. Somebody has to clean the bathrooms. Somebody has to set it up. Somebody has to maintain it. Somebody has to print the cards. Somebody has to design the cards. Somebody has to design the website. Somebody has to, go out and distribute them. So on and on and on and on. And same with the temple, same with so many projects. So we should try to be a part of those things. Lead nice. We should learn to lead nice kirtans. We should learn to speak. We should learn to cook. We should learn to whatever. Be friendly with people. Or else, what are people's actually chance for becoming Krishna conscious? They don't have a chance. So why? Because our philosophy is that you become Krishna conscious by the influence of devotees. That's how you become Krishna conscious. It said, how does bhakti start? How does bhakti arise in the heart of out of an individual? It just arises by chance. Like the atheistic scientists, right? The creation of this world just by chance. No, it's not by chance. Nothing's by chance. So how does it arise in our hearts? The bhakti, the tendency, the attraction to Krishna. How does that arise? Our philosophy, nectar, devotion, bhakti rasa, amrita sindhu, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. What do they say? They say it arises by the influence of devotees. That by their association you become attracted to Krishna. So a soul has to become pious. A soul has to become good. A soul has to become good-natured. And how does that arise? First, that's a preliminary step. The soul has to become good-natured, pious, and then they'll lean towards Krishna. But how do they become good-natured, pious? They have to have sukriti, means good credit, right? And how do they get that sukriti? They have to come in contact with devotees. They have to, help devotees, do some service for devotees, take a book from a devotee, whatever. And then that develops, and then gradually, when that's built up, they're able to take to Krishna conscious, and they're able to eventually become a devotee. So in other words, we should think like that hey, I have a lot of responsibility here, that I should try to help people. And this is what it means to be a devotee in Kali Yuga. This is what it means to be a devotee of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that we somehow or other develop this compassion within our hearts to help people. Or else, what type of devotee of Lord Chaitanya are we? How can we call ourselves devotees of Lord Chaitanya if we don't develop that? If we're just absorbed in our own happiness and our own, plans of happiness within this material world, how can we call ourselves devotees of Lord Chaitanya? So, or Lord Nityananda. So that's the message for this morning, this wonderful Wednesday morning. Does anyone have any questions or comments or anything you'd like to say? Glenn, the Supreme Personality of Glenn. There's many Glens, but this is the Supreme Personality of Glenn.
I was watching a lecture, and the devotee said the difference between a guru and a disciple is a guru knows that he doesn't know, and a disciple doesn't know that he doesn't know. So
that's funny. Yeah, the guru. Yeah, that's a qualification of guru. Actually, I mean, people they want sometimes to be guru, but the qualification of guru is that they're the most. They have developed that firm deep humility, and they understand, that they're insignificant. So that's actually one of the qualifications. And that's one of the reasons why it's good to accept a spiritual master. Because, there's a guru who has the utmost humility, right? So why is it good to accept such a guru? Why? So you could be trained how to become humble. Or else how will you become humble if you're not trained? If you don't personally engage in somebody's service, you won't become humble. And if you don't see your activities as engaging in somebody's personal service, means this is my personal service to Srila Prabhupada, what I'm doing. This is my personal service to my spiritual master. Or we don't personally serve devotees, we won't become humble. And then how will we won't become a disciple really, and if we don't become a disciple, how will we ever become a guru? And we're actually meant to become gurus. Everybody is meant to become gurus on some level. Yadi Dekataka Krishna Badesh, what is it? Amara Gahu Guru Tari Desh. Wherever you go, whoever you see, tell them about Krishna, and this way become a guru and liberate the land. Liberate, as far as possible, free people. So, but in order to become a guru, we have to become a disciple and be trained in humility. And once we're trained in humility sufficiently, then we become a guru. And some would say, oh, well, so what? Can I become a guru without being humble? You can, but you'll be less effective. The most effective personalities are those who have the deepest humility. Why? Because Krishna could give them anything. Krishna could give them, 50 million disciples. Krishna could give them $50 million. Krishna could give them 50 million temples. Krishna could give them, 50 million likes on Facebook. I'm just joking. Krishna could give them 50 million of whatever everybody wants, but they'll think, oh, well, they'll still remain humble. Oh, I'm a servant of these disciples. This doesn't, people are glorifying me, but it doesn't belong to me. It belongs to my spiritual master. So in this way, they're actually able to handle it nicely. Just like Srila Prabhupada, he had so many disciples, but, it wasn't all like puffed up about it or something. It was his service to his spiritual master to train them. And like Jayapataka Swami, how many disciples does he have now? 40,000? What does Jayapataka Swami have? Over 30,000 disciples. It's a lot of disciples. But, Maharaj's thinking, look at so many disciples. No, he's just humble devotee. So, if we want to become disciples, that's the first thing. We should want to become disciples. Anybody who's not a disciple of a guru, they should want to be disciple of a guru, and then they should make, tangible efforts to become a disciple of a particular guru. And then after that, in all humility, one should become a guru also. Yeah. With the whole purpose of trying to assist Srila Prabhupada, trying to assist our spiritual master, trying to assist the mission of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, with the whole aim of making people happy with Krishna, not without Krishna. So, yeah. That's one poem says that the Vaishnav's desire will be fulfilled when he sees that all living entities are happy. So, in Krishna consciousness. So does anyone have any other question or comment? Yes.
No one can. We're not perfect, but we're supposed to find a perfect Vaishnava as a guru.
Mm-hmm.
So can you talk about that?
Uh-oh. So no one's perfect, but we're supposed to find the perfect Vaishnava as a guru. Yeah, I mean, it can be challenging. There's different types of gurus, or different types of gurus, and not, not all gurus are the same. There's considered more advanced gurus. Some gurus are more advanced, just like Bhaktivinoda Thakur. He had a guru, but ultimately he accepted his main instruction from another personality, his Shiksha gurus. So, really when it comes down to it, our line, our disciplic succession, is actually a Shiksha, or instructing guru line. Like, for example, Gaura-Kishordas Babaji, Bhaktivinoda Thakur is not the Diksha spiritual master of Gaura-Kishordas Babaji. Like that. Of course, I don't want to confuse anybody, but... but we should take Diksha. We should take, initiation vows, get the spiritual name, and so on. But sometimes it so happens that our main instruction is not coming from our Diksha spiritual master. It may be coming from other personalities. For example, if one's Diksha spiritual master, leaves the world, then our instruction has to be coming from other gurus, Shiksha gurus, and we should seek those out. Or, for whatever reason, maybe our spiritual master, fails in his particular duties as a spiritual master, and he ceases to be a spiritual master. And it says in the scripture, one shouldn't just automatically reject that personality, but actually says one should wait until that personality is rectified. And if they're not rectified after a prolonged time, then one could seek out another spiritual master. There may be apparent imperfections in a particular spiritual master and one's particular some apparent imperfections. But the real thing is that they're sold out servants of their spiritual master. That's the real thing, even if there's apparent imperfections. For example, culturally speaking, for me to take this cup and put it on my mouth and drink water out of it, culturally, that is imperfect. I should go like this. Now, if I put my mouth on it and then I put it here, subtly, the table's contaminated, things are contaminated like that. It's a subtle thing. Or if I, if I give a gift and I use my left hand, culturally, that's not good. Culturally. So, but, if a guru does that, you accept him as a guru, and, he does that. A disciple shouldn't think, oh, well, why is my guru doing that, and that's imperfect, and, just, find some faults or something. They should see that their guru is sold out to Prabhupada, even if he has some things like that. And therefore, aside from that, one has to be careful who they accept, because, later on, you may not like that your guru, puts his mouth on the cup and maybe, gives gifts with his left hand, or maybe, socially or culturally, maybe does things that may not is the best, or what to speak of some philosophical ideas you don't agree with. It happens sometimes. So therefore, one should be very careful in the matter of choosing one's spiritual master. So, the connection is very clear. In other words, you have faith in them. So it's a big subject, but you could say one of the main things I'm trying to say is that one should try to overlook the apparent faults of a particular spiritual master, even if there are some apparent or real. But the main thing is if they're sold out to their spiritual master and they're following the regulative principles and chanting the rounds and so on, then one should have the utmost respect for them. And a side point is one should be careful who they choose. So, and they shouldn't spend too much time on the internet. Devotees shouldn't spend too much time on the internet looking at all the, because we said some days ago the internet in relation to gurus is like a cesspool. You know, in other words, every single guru within this movement, practically speaking, unless they're a new guru, has some information on the internet about them, and some of it may be true, may happen 20 years ago, 30 years ago, some fault or something, or some of it may be completely fabricated, and a lot of it's fabricated because there's envious people out there who are trying to deprecate, cut down the foundation of this movement, so therefore they try to put as much information on the internet as possible. So devotees should not look at that. Whether it's true or not, I mean, better not to look at it. Because what if it's not true? Then, you just have all these thoughts about this person. Dharmaraj, he did this, he did that. He did so many things. He's a liar and a cheater and a thief and, a drug addict or something, And, if it's true, okay, fine, I don't want him around the temple. But what if it's not true? Every time I see Dharmaraj, I'm just thinking he's a liar and a cheat and a thief and a drug addict, It's not cool, you're like, it's a misconception. So better devotees don't look at that because it will contaminate their minds. And it's like it's a cesspool. It's not purifying. So if devotees want to know about particular guru or particular gurus or history of ISKCON and this and that, there are venues for that. We have good devotees who give lectures on the history of ISKCON, the colorful history of ISKCON. Or, you could ask particular senior devotees, what do you think about me taking initiation from this particular spiritual master? And they'll tell you, what they think, like that. So better go that route rather than one's personal investigation on the net. So, all right. Hopefully that's not too bewildering or confusing or disturbing to anybody, but okay. Does anyone?
I said a really quick thing I was trying to find, but Mukunda would know it because it says Spiritual Master in Mayapur in a morning walk with Prabhupada. I couldn't find the lecture, but remember...
Mukunda did tell me about that, yeah.
Yeah, but Prabhupada, Jayadvaita Swami, from what I remember, it's kind of hazy, but Jayadvaita Swami, Das Brahmachari at that time, was asking Prabhupada, sometimes you appear to make mistakes. He was kind of wording it in a nice way, but sometimes it appears you make mistakes. But it says a spiritual master never makes mistakes. They're perfect, Yeah. And then Prabhupada's in response was the spiritual master is perfect because he's loving Krishna.
Yes.
He's not necessarily all the material things might be perfect.
Yeah, like Prabhupada would misquote verses all the time. Not all the time, but actually, yeah. Often Prabhupada would misquote verses. But, misquote means there'd be a word or two, like instead of, Konteya, he would say, something else, referring to Arjuna. Or he would, Janma Karma Chame Divyam, he would say it backwards, But, so, that's imperfection, why'd Prabhupada do that? Or, I thought the spiritual master perfect. Okay, but why is, everything Prabhupada's doing, everything he's thinking and feeling and the reasons why he's doing that, he's doing it for the benefit of humankind. He's doing that out of love for Krishna. So Prabhupada gave thousands of lectures, and why? Out of his love for Krishna. And he maybe misquoted things, but it's it doesn't really matter. That is perfect, Him doing that's perfect. Because what he was doing was, You got something, Joel?
Sorry, just touching back briefly on this subject of humility. So, in Krishna consciousness, should this quality of humility, should it be our first and main priority, developing this quality? Should that be our first and main priority? And can we develop any other good qualities without first having achieved that?
Many people have good qualities without humility. yeah, they have so many good qualities, but without humility, it kind of ruins all the other ones. It's like, man, this guy's a really good speaker and like really good kirtan leader, and like, you know, distributes tons of books. But if the guy's puffed up, it's like, oh man, like, get him out of here. You know, I don't even want to see him. Like, this is just horrible. Like Prabhupada, he said that there was airport in relation to humility. There was this devotee. You know, there's a big airport, bunch of devotees, and Hari Vilas tells this story. This pastime. Hari Vilas, he's a devotee up in Seattle, Prabhupada disciple. So he said, so the devotee was introducing the devotees, and Hari Vilas, he sat right in front, you know, wanted Prabhupada to see him. And then the devotee said, oh, Prabhupada, this is Hari Vilas. He's the temple president. And, you know, he's managing things and everything. And then Prabhupada didn't even look at him. Just kind of like really serious, you know, like didn't even look at him. You know. And then Hari Vilas, oh, it's like it was like dying, you know. And then in the back there was one boy, and he was translating Prabhupada's books into French, you know. But he was sitting in the back, you know. He's kind of, you know, humble, you know, sitting in the back, and not that anybody who sits in front's not humble, but you know, he was humble aside from that. But so then Prabhupada, and they said, this is your devotee, and he's translating your books. And Prabhupada looked at him, and he smiled, and, you know, he thanked him very much and everything. And Hari Vilas, he said from that, yeah, I could tell that, you know, I was puffed up, and, you know, Prabhupada didn't like that, you know, but he liked this devotee being humble, so, you know. So without that humility, yeah, all of the qualities are actually ruined. So you can develop other qualities without humility, but without humility it's ruined. And should it be the first? I mean, in many ways, yeah, because, I mean, when one goes to the traditional Gurukul, much of the training is actually training in like humility. You know, the boys are, you know, they're engaging in menial service to the spiritual, you know, collecting firewood, you know, cleaning things, and, you know, this and that. It's really a humbling thing. But the challenge is sometimes when when we come and we're a little older, you know, because Prabhupada made the point of boys. He said that the boys, the Gurukul or kids, they don't have a sense of pride, you know. They don't have a sense like, oh, you know, hey, I'm the son of the king, you know, why you treat me like that, you know. They don't have a sense of that. They just, you know, they're boys, and, you know, if an older, of course now boys are a little different, but, you know, they're older, and, you know, older person's telling them something, he's like the guru, the leader, and they just follow, you know. They're able to be trained, but when we become a little older, you know, it's a little difficult. But yeah, we should try to, you know, be in the mood of service, and, you know, try to develop that. Because without it, it's like Lord Chaitanya, the last thing I'll say, you know, it's getting late. Lord Chaitanya says that we should wear this verse around our neck. Guru Krishna has it tattooed. Guru Krishna Das, you know, the Mridanga player. He has it tattooed. Trinadapi Sunichena Suhishana Manina Manidena Kirtani Sudahari. So, in order to always chant the holy name, one should wear this verse around their neck, or they should be in the mood of humility, you know, giving all respects to others, expecting no respect in return, being humble as a blade of grass and tolerant as a tree, you know. And then they could chant always. So that should be worn around one's neck. That's what Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says. So, all right. All right, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.